to another coffee, Samso. Today we're part of the special events that we're doing with Blackstone Minerals, where we're talking with some of their staff who are critical players in what they're doing at this point in time. Today I have Tony Tang here for me, talking about their downstream processing, which is a major part of the Blackstone story at the moment. So Tony, thank you for coming, giving us your time.
Good morning, now.
Tony, maybe give us a quick intro. I've looked at your bio. You've got a strong history background in mineral processing. So yeah, maybe just give us a quick intro, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, now. Tony Tang. I'm the General Manager of Project Development for the downstream process for Blackstone Mineral. About me, I'm a graduate from Curtin University with Bachelor of Science. I've been in the industry over 25 years, predominantly in the nickel space, and last 20 years into the rare earth and lithium. It's good to be back to nickel project and help the downstream process for Blackstone Mineral.
Obviously, a lot of your history is in nickel, and with nickel has had a very sort of a long up and down history. How do you see, well, from the processing side, and the nickel is not nickel, right? We've got nickel sulphides, we've got the nickel laterites, and then you get the nickel laterites that are in Australia as opposed to the ones in the more tropical environment, and I believe the treatment of the nickel is different as well.
Yeah, so basically I started my career with nickel sulfide with WNC, playing with them. Then later in the study, I was involved with the laterite, the oxide, and so that's where my career started in the nickel, is learn how to extract low-grade nickel. Yes, the sulfide has a lot of benefits because it's high quality mineral, high grade, whereas the oxide, the laterite, is low grade, between 0.3 to around 1.5%. Sulfide you can get quite low, but you can concentrate by flotation, where laterite you can't float. You just use combination to ore dressing and improve the grade, but maximum you can get is around about 1.5.
So from just to give us a understanding of what's happening with Blackstone, because obviously in this mine building stage, there's a lot that's happening, but there's not a lot that sort of exciting to investors. Can you just let us know, give us, rundown on what's happening?
Well, our managing director and the team has been very busy. Our team in Vietnam continue to have multi-rigs doing drilling exploration of our targets. Also firm up the resource and mapping the block to ensure that we can report and also understand what we will be processing. Then on the other side, we have recently finished a PFS. We've done a lot of test work. So we treat our concentrate as well as a third-party concentrate to ensure that we have adequate feed to the plant. So we did a very comprehensive PFS test work program. So we treat the concentrate, the entire flow sheet, all the way through producing NCM. So we have really good result with the NCM. And then we have a very, to go with the test work, we also did the PFS study for the downstream, and the result was posted back in July, showing that the economic is there, and we're looking forward to go to the next phase. Next phase is going to do the pilot plant to ensure that the entire flow sheet can be done continuously. Then this particular time is very important, is to engage engineering houses to help us to take from the PFS to the next phase, is definitive feasibility study. So in the coming months, you will see that we will be engaged one or two engineering firms to assist us with that.
Okay. I guess from a very layman point of view, the DFS, the PFS, the studies is really about whether you can actually make the cooking process work, so more or less. we had a prior discussion about how what to simplify is like a cooking exercise. Too much this is not good, but too little of that is also no good. Maybe give us a gist of what are your challenges that or what are you guys trying to prove in your studies?
So basically, Blackstone Mineral is in a very good position. We have our own disseminated ore as well as the massive sulfide, and our third party concentrate also massive sulfide. So the best thing is to understand each mineral and their characteristic, how they behave when we treat them. And also there are a lot of other third party, they have mineral that potentially not suitable for other downstream process like the pyromet process because of high magnesium and magnesium ion ratio. And for us is to understand what to do with it. So we're applying similar like cooking. You know, a good dish is to know your ingredient, is to know your what you're going to put in, and when to put in, and how much to put in. So make sure that each element of the ingredient is enhanced and accentuate the flavor and the texture, and also not just that, but the smell and the look as well. So adequate colors, adequate taste, and flavors.
This is it's a good way of describing. I mean, we're giving MasterChef a good run for their money here. You know, but it is true, right? It is as simple as that. It's the easiest way to explain that. You know, certain elements needs to be done first, and if they're associated with elements that are not suitable for that process, you have to break it up and do it in a different way, right?
Absolutely. It's just like us here having a coffee and chit chat to the community. It's just like coffee, you know. Mining is just like coffee farm, and you're growing the plant in coffee, and that is just like ore. And then when you start harvesting the coffee bean, it got flesh and it got the seed. So just like we dig the ore up, and then we just start to processing it. So the first thing is to remove the thing that doesn't not suitable for the coffee making is by drying it and remove the flesh. So the upstream process is trying to concentrate it up. So once you concentrate it up, it's just like you got the coffee seed now, and basically the next phase is roasting. So they just like the concentrate. Now we just send it down to the refinery, and the refinery, the pressure oxidation leaching, it's just like your coffee machine. So you have your coffee bean grinding upstream, and then grind to the correct size, roast the correct temperature, having a correct coffee blend, give you specific flavors. And then after that, you just put into this compression, correct steam temperature, correct water quantity, whether you want espresso or long black, and so on. So they give you the time, the quantity of water, and that's what the epoxy autoclave is about. And then once it's coming out, you have extracted, you're going to make a flat white, or you're going to make a cappuccino, macchiato, and so on, mocha. It's just a flavor, and that's what we are doing. Is once it's extracted, we're going downstream, is to treat the coffee into a different flavor that like nickel mixed hydroxide or a nickel sulfate or the NCM 811, 622, 532, whichever the flavors that our off-takers would like us to produce.
I've had conversations with people sort of talking about Blackstone and what you guys are doing, and you know, obviously the downstream thing is the big sort of play. And I meant the comment, look, you know, at least these guys have their own mind. Look, they've got a combination of massive sulfides and disseminate stuff. Is that, well, is my narrative correct in saying that that's actually a very good thing, that you can actually have the best of two sets of ore type?
Yes, not many people have done previously, because previously the process design were specific to one or the other. For me, I'm very fortunate. I've been working in the nickel laterite for over 20 years. I've been working in Marmaran for 10 years, and then prior to Marmaran, I did all the pilot plant test work. Also did the the sulfide as well. So understand the chemistry, how they complement each other. And by having understand that, so we got the low sulfide nickel in the disseminated and high sulfide. Uh, what it helps is just like you blend the coffee bean. It's blend the best to give you the best texture, best extraction, best flavor, and then as little coffee as possible. So that's how you get your high yield return.
Okay, okay. And are there any sort of nasty elements in the suite of the two type ore that you have to be concerned of? I mean, these days there's no such thing as a deal breaker anymore, but you sort of have to treat it in a different way, right?
Yes, agree. So basically, by understanding the mineral and the mineralogy of it, you come up with the special blend. And using innovation of what we have developed over the past since 1960 and the HPAL uh, since Maraman Day, since 1997 till now, we understand there's a niche technology there, and the innovation and the improvement from the equipment and also the process and the chemistry, we able to adopt that innovation to treat these various wide range of minerals. And by understand that, you're planning ahead of what your ore blend, feed blend will be. So you set a certain criteria of how you're treating it through your process. Just like your coffee machine, you know that you're gonna have very coarse coffee bean. So you need to have a high pressure, high temperature to extract that, because that is the character of that bean. When you have a very fine bean and so on, so you don't need as high pressure, but you still need a quite a decent amount of um, process condition to make sure that your coffee can match. So that's exactly the same with our process. So by understanding what you're going to feed in, then you set up the system ready to treat that ore.
Yep, yep. Okay. And from an investor point of view, I mean, you know, people will look at and say, you know, what are your hurdles? You know, what are your technical hurdles? I mean, there's market issue, and that's something separate, right? But from your point of view, in charge of the downstream side, are there any technical hurdles that you see going forward?
Yeah, they're always going to be a hurdle. We got to be upfront and be honest with the community. Uh, the Not every equipment can be manufactured the same quality each time. So it's depend on what material you can source at the time, the workmanship you have to do all this equipment, and the fine finesse detail of the design of the equipment and the delivery of the equipment to site. The hurdle is get the right equipment manufactured right first time, so you don't have to um, fixing it, debottlenecking when you're on site. So the detail engineering component is to get the right team member on. Technology-wise, is quite mature. The POX is very mature. Post-POX leaching, the filtration, the separation, and the solvent extraction, very mature. We be in partnership with all the reagent and vendors during the test work, so they understand what characteristic of our processing stream are like, so they can go back and design the equipment. So basically, by doing this, we de-risking and we let the vendors doing their design and work to come up with design that's suitable to treat our process.
Okay. And the people that's doing this, I mean, it all sounds, you know, fairly high tech. And how so are you guys able to source labor that are at that level?
Yeah, so basically one of our strategy is to have our study done in Australia, and then we build a pilot plant in Vietnam. During the pilot plant is a number of reasons. Firstly is to test our ore and our concentrate different blend and the water and the chemical down there, the equipment. During that time, we're able to train the local people, so train all the core skilled people and developing local procedures, safety procedures, and also analytical analysis to make sure that all those are being set up. Once we've done that, we go to the next step is second phase. So the next phase, the bigger pilot plant, what it does is generate, it's almost like a prototype of a commercial plant. And what it does is you have automation including it, on-stream analysis onto it, so fully controlled. So you have a larger workforce. So the team come from the first phase, start training the second phase, and we expand. So we have that system in place, that documentation and design now ready to submit for the government for the approval as well, and they will be ready in the Vietnamese languages. So also during that time we have the local vendors, suppliers, we have our environmental authority get involved with it. So that is to ease their mind in any issue we have, we rectify that before we go into the commercial scale.
And like anywhere else where any jurisdiction you work with, you have certain issues, or not issues, but things that you have to do to move forward from the government side, the compliance side, and things like that. Now, you've worked in Australia heavily in as well. Do you see a imbalance of requirements, or level of hardness of doing stuff in Vietnam as compared to here?
Vietnam is moving, it's opened the door and moving very fast pace. There's a couple of already chemical processing plant in Vietnam. For example, Nuôi Phao. They're using polymetallic extraction, and it's been designed by Western company and has been well run in Vietnam. For us to go to Vietnam is to make sure we do the right thing, having our design in just choose the right engineering team, doing all the design to meet international standard, and also having the best practice. And need to have proper procedural training, and everything we do, we need to test it first to ensure that any risk can be mitigated before we commencing a commercial plan.
I mean, from my point of view, I think the fact that I assume you speak Vietnamese very well, that level, that ability to communicate is very important, because that's always where it falls over, is how you communicate. How do you see that as a big advantage for you guys, for Blackstone?
So basically, from my perspective, is communication is a key thing for everything in this world to be successful. Is to transfer your knowledge, transfer your view and expression, that people can understand exactly what you're saying and exactly what you want to get done. So what part of Blackstone Mineral is we are developing a engineering excellence centers, both Australia and Vietnam. At the moment we have a team that currently work with me to focus on the studies and the development. At the same time, we're recruiting university students in Vietnam and people working in the industry, both chemical and industrial in Vietnam. So we're going to have our own engineering team in Vietnam. So I will transfer my skill from the last 25 years industry to our local team. When I go to Vietnam, lucky for me, I do speak the language, transfer that through the local language and the local culture, so they can understand their purpose, understand why we're doing it and why we do certain way, because it's all come down to their safety, the benefit of being understand and be confident of what they're doing. So that cultural and language that I can tap in, that's a big bonus for them.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think the fact that you can translate the passion through the culture is very important, because it's very underplayed in many places, but when you are able to do it and get that smoothly across the table, and also every culture has a different way of doing things or understanding of how to do it, and that's very critical, I think. And for you, from that side, for Blackstone, I think yeah, it's a big plus. I think big plus. Plus the fact that you know what you're talking about, which is important.
The best thing is it's about the people. It's about them coming in and understand what they're doing and bring the best individual out, especially their passion. And everybody has a passion, and if you understand what is important to them, their values, and bring our company values to them and share that values, and then from that point the passion start coming out. So it's a win-win benefit for both worlds. So to me, it's not just employing the local people. It's just employing the people who has a passion to uh, to be part of the future, the part of improvement, the technology and the green technology, is to help the world. So if they have that, and we share that purpose with them, they know why they're doing it, and they're doing for the good, or for humanity. Then yeah, we just focus on that. But without them being understanding and knowing the safety, um, we are not achieving what we want to achieve, because everybody got to be safe.
It's interesting now that we've had this discussion because part of this special event series with Blackstone is to encapsulate all the major components of making the project work. And we've had discussion with Anna Cranny, who's part of the ESG team, and Tessa, who's part of delivering the message to the investing world. The fact that we've just been discussing about the people and everything fits really well with that ESG component of making sure that these guys are actually well trained and they know what they're doing, and there's an integration of social aspects, which then relates to compliance, governance, which then relates to the keeping the environment, all the environment aspects of things on par, and which then leads to Tessa delivering that message. It's really easy to deliver a message that you actually sincerely believe in, as opposed to a message that you sort of trying to gloss over to make it look nice.
Yeah, so I was very fortunate. I grew up in a very large family, and in the community, you know, we're only as strong as the weakest one. Um, so by working with them and helping them to strengthening their skill and their confidence is extremely important. Everybody has something to contribute. That's what we bring to Vietnam, is to make sure that the community fully involved from day one. That's why our team in Vietnam every day is when there's an opportunity arise without COVID, they communicate with the local, go to the local council meeting, town hall meeting, and school, university, and also we now have video headset in Vietnam. So if people want to see what we're doing, actually we can live stream to those people as well.
Okay.
So at least if they can't visit us, at least they can see through the video live stream to them as well.
Yeah. Okay. That's good practice. Um, Look, I surely, a lot of these things add to the potential success of a project. And we had this discussion about being stronger pillar, having the foundation, and and every project, as you said, has the strong and the weak, and making sure the weak pillars understand and develop and become this part of the strong group. I think that's very, very important, what you've just been saying. Um, Look, going forward, I guess, what your experience and what you guys are doing now with Blackstone, how is that comparative to? Are you guys doing anything that's different to other people? Is it steady as she goes, and there's really you have complications and you mitigate that. Is it steady as it goes, or are you guys having big tsunami waves coming?
Well, like everything, we're very transparent. One of our values is very transparent, and our integrity is to make sure that we share with our peers what we are doing, to make sure that what we're doing is not um, risky, especially for the shareholders and the community. They need to know that we are steady. We working very systematically to make sure that we tick every single box as we go. As how we doing project execution is basically we have a execution plan, and we have the board and the management charted. So they say that okay, this is what we're going to do next. So make sure that we have enough resource, enough skill set people, and consultant come on board in a timely manner. With how we different with our peers doing okay. They have their own process, their own challenges, and we're all working through them. Every single time we have community gathering and conference, we share our challenges and our wins, and we're sharing ideas and helping out. Okay, if you have these challenges, these are the people that you potentially can tap on, and you get some answer through them, or they know something. So we're very sharing. We're not type of hidden and hold on to ourselves, because at the end of the day, it's all about everybody in the same pace and then producing nickel to ensure that enough nickel supply for the industry.
Tony, one of the questions that probably on my lips and many people is, how do you guys approach this downstream side? Obviously, looking at how you do it and why you do certain things.
So basically, we were very fortunate to have our plant and the mine in Vietnam. We have really good access to hydropower, very competitive labor force, and the technology is near the neighbor. So for us to look into the vertical um, process is to have a green technology is by process all the way through to the product. Whereas our peers, some doing up to MHP, then shift that MHP to someone else to reprocess. Some producing nickel sulfate, cobalt sulfate, and then ship to another location to do that. We're very fortunate to be able to do all the way through NCM, the precursor, before we go in lithiation into with lithium and then into the battery. So for us, it's very lucky. We in Vietnam where we are, we near the hydropower. We need very fertile, resourceful location that we have 25 targets of mineral, and we also have third-party support concentrate from the world. Next to us will be the battery manufacturing from LG and Samsung. So basically, it is a right approach for us to produce from our concentrate to all the way to precursor, and the cut down the packaging, the drying, the transportation, and that's what differentiates us to our peers. Now we are also talking to other motor factory in Vietnam, so that potentially further improving the green nickel component is basically the battery getting produced in Vietnam and go straight into the car. So you deliver the whole piece as a final product. So value added, and it's a vertical integrated system.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've always liked Blackstone from that point of view that you are in the market space. You're not like in an isolated place. You need to deliver your product to the market, whereas you're in the market, right? You're in Vietnam, you're in, Indochina or in Southeast Asia, where people are actually producing and using this product. So and I think that's the key. But touching on that green side of things, the hydropower and things like that. And I don't like to go throw the green label on everything, because I think that's what a lot of the market is trying to do at this point in time, and it will be a slow transition eventually to, greenness so to say. How do you see that going for, they said, the downstream side, that you can actually take advantage of it, in serious nature, not so marketing.
So basically, every single time you're producing intermediate product, and you have to dry and then package it and shipping. For us, we don't have to do that. It saves a lot of energy, resources, and chemical, and energy required. And then you packaging as well. So by go through all that, we have a fully closed loop integrated water conservation recovery. Chemical can potentially regenerating it, and instead of you dry something or crystallize something and you dissolve that with water again, whereas our product is already in that phase, so you go through it, so that energy is not wasted. It's a continuous flow. So therefore, any energy that you can save from there is green, because every single time you dry something, you packaging and you put into the car and you transport to somewhere, that product has to go back into the liquid again, or get reprocessed. Whereas for us, we process all the way through. So that is the saving, the cost saving, the energy saving, and it impact the environment a lot if we continue to keep stage by stage. So as you can see, there's a synergy there that potentially help the chemical conservation, chemical regeneration, water conservation, water reuse in the process, and we don't have as much packaging because the large packaging would be in the battery because such a close proximity to our battery manufacturer like LG, Samsung, or Panasonic in Vietnam, potentially they just shift in a bulk quantity and then just go through and battery making. Whereas all the others, you have to packaging it into a small bag or a bulky bag. That's a lot of packaging.
Okay, I guess look, we all know it's not as easy as we're making out as to be. It's very complicated because you need to justify how much money they're paying you. Look smart, but is this easy in your view? Like
Yeah, like anything, practice make it perfect. If you do enough, you confident that you deliver something with informed information, informed design, and well-trained team. So that's why I explained before is to make sure that every single thing that we're doing is well planned, and during that plan we execute it well, and also make sure that the people that we're going to bring on the team, they complementing and work together as a link. So we one of our values is unity. We make sure that the team bring on board, they have the same value and unify to deliver the project. Unity is extremely important, not just individual and a small group, but the goal expand as far as community and expand. Without the community support, without the vendor support, stakeholder support, the management support, the investors, we don't have unity. So to earn that unity, we need to have high integrity. We need to tell the market where we're at, what we do well, what we don't do well, how we can improve it, who we're bringing on, and where the skill set coming from, to make sure that everything is transparent, because we can't do this thing this day by not being transparent, because once we get caught, it's not a very nice thing.
no, no. Look, it's I mean that one of the reasons why I really like doing these videos, and we'll be talking with your colleague Andrew Strickland on the upstream side of things, is to get a good idea of the path or the journey of Blackstone to that final step, where you start delivering your products and things like that, and how everything works together. Look, you guys out there who watches our videos, and it's a way for Blackstone to deliver what they do, and just to see, to give you guys an understanding of, what questions you could be thinking of, questioning for likes of Tony and the crew. Because I do always encourage you guys to send your emails and messages and to these guys, because they're the ones they're the mouthpiece, and they know their work. So look, Tony, thank you for your time. I mean, it's fantastic. I know it's a really complicated issue, and we're trying to make light of it, but it's just a message to get people to understand what you guys are doing. Really appreciate your time. And maybe down the road we can come up with something else.
Absolutely.
The best fur in town, maybe. All right, thank you.
Thank you, no. Thank you, everyone.